Hi, I'm Eddie Landeros,
I'm Bella Morales.
I'm Nathan Sorge.
and this is the Talon Talks for October 2024.
Woo,
Yes.
Yay.
All right, so today we're going to keep it light here. We're going to keep it relatable. We are going to talk about the semester, how it's going for us, and what we've learned from it so far. So, Bella, I believe you are applying to universities, right?
Yeah. I'm applying to 4 years. Not. It's stressful.
Stressful?
Really stressful. Yeah. I have to write for one college alone, like 5 or 6 different prompts. Film major, am I right? Ooh,
Ooh, yeah.
I'm so excited. Honestly, like, it's really stressful because I have midterms and like most of my applications are due during midterms, so I'm like trying to balance applying and also studying for my classes. But I'm excited to pursue something, like just be able to put my efforts into continuing my education and being able to kind of just like see my future. I guess it's really exciting. Applying to Chapman, which
Okay.
that's the dream. That's the dream school. Applying to Biola, which is a little bit more faith guided, which I really like. And then I'm applying to Long Beach and Northridge.
Got it.
All
Okay.
very good art schools.
Nice. Anyone in particular that you're looking forward to the most? Like if you're like, yes, I got accepted into.
Chapman and Long Beach, probably.
Okay.
Because I have family closer up there, so like it'd be nice to be able to visit them a little bit more. But overall, I think Biola would be cool because of like my faith. It's a Christian school, so
Okay.
I think that'd be really awesome if I got in as well. The prompts for those though are actually really interesting. They're asking about like my faith and like how I got to know Jesus, and I talked to my sister and I was like, I have to tell them my testimony. I'm so stressed out. She was like, dude, like you're fine. Like you can just like, it's okay. Just write, from your emotions. And like, I've been calling my sister she's the only one who out of my 3 older sisters went to college. So like she has the most experience with applications and stuff. And I was like, dude, I have no idea what to write. Like, I don't even know. She was like, just make it the most sappy, heart, like warming story you can. She was like, colleges love that stuff,
Yes,
dude. And I was
your
like,
Eat, Pray, Love area. My Eat, Pray, Love application.
my Eat, Pray, Love application, yeah. I fell in love, went to Italy, and then just broke the other guy's heart,
Decided, you know what, I'm going to go to a 4-year instead. You're the love of my life, but 4-year college.
4-year college.
Gotta get
me
it.
and Chapman. But yeah, right now they're a little bit on the back burner because, like I said, it's just like midterms are coming up, so trying to have that like when can I work on my applications and when can I work on my homework is a bit of a juggle, but
Right.
trying to figure that out a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about some stuff like that. I am a bachelor's graduate, so I got some experience with all of that. So we'll get more into university talk later. Nathan, what about you? How's everything going for you this semester?
I'm doing something a little different. I'm probably just gonna get a non-transfer and then just go into like internships and more work-based stuff from there.
Gotcha.
I'm doing film and TV currently, but I'm gonna switch over to the digital media degree that
Got
they
it.
have, and then hopefully by next semester they'll start throw my name around and maybe I'll
Right.
land something.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What's so funny, Bella?
Speak up.
I can't. No, that's crazy.
So yeah, I mean, like, and that's a viable option too in digital media because, sure, like getting a bachelor's would help you, but if you don't have the experience and you don't get that experience in the university that you go to, depending on what you choose, then it's kind of meaningless, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, I feel like, especially for film, it's
Yeah.
very make or break whether or not you get the experience that you need, because it's literally all they look for. They're like,
Yeah.
so what's your portfolio? Like, what do you have to show? Which, oh my gosh, I need help with that. But I'm applying, technically I'm applying for like an internship type of thing at my church where the production team is like, all right, like it sounds great. It sounds like you have like a lot of experience. Can you just send over some of your work? And I was like, oh my gosh, I actually have to send over work. So I'm like really stressed out about that. But I think I have a couple of things that they can like look forward to, or at least see that I have some experience being able to help them. They were like, okay, so like what software are you used to? And I was like, literally anything. It's like just editing software. Just put me in there, coach. Like, okay.
I'll edit it. I'll trim it. I'll slice it. I'll dice it. Whatever you need.
Do a little cinder block moment, you know.
Cinder block moment.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, I mean, a lot to think about while you're in school, on top of the schoolwork that you have. So, you know, we're thinking ahead of ourselves for the future because we have to. You know, applications are going to be due soon. But meanwhile, I mean, we have assignments that are due like literally yesterday. So how are we handling those?
Well, she's recovering over there. It's really hard, especially like with like the kind of like transitional feeling in fall, especially after what's been going on with everything that happened during the summer, the extreme heat, the fires,
Yeah.
and then now we're finally kind of settling down, but it's kicking back up because of midterms.
Yeah.
And then
It's just-
I already have to start thinking about finals.
Yeah.
And then I'm like thinking about the holidays, and I'm just like so much
check
like
that out.
family and gifts and working and
Tamales and turkey and
true.
all that, yeah.
Tamales, you're right. Good point. But I'm yeah, no, assignments, it's rough. I'm taking 5 classes this semester. Don't do that, guys.
Yeah, same here. It's
Don't
tough.
do that. Literally, the max you should ever take is like 4.
4. Okay.
And that's if you're like, okay, I have a job, I can kind of like balance that in some
Right.
way, shape, or form. But regularly, I think like during college, 3 is good. 2 is like, you know, whatever, and then 1 it's like if you really just don't have the time, or like if you're
Yeah.
transitioning back into college and like schoolwork.
Yeah, you got like a job and a part-time job. Like you can only take one course.
Yeah,
So yeah,
no.
it's
But
understandable.
yeah, I know some people that like Alina, like 5 classes. I think now she's taking 6 or like,
Yeah.
and like she has a full-time job, and
Yeah.
then she's like preparing for her wedding, and I'm like, girl, I don't know how you do that, but she's so good at managing her time. Like she
Right.
is such, like she makes it look effortless the way she manages her time. Like she's like, okay, I have this and this and this and this, and then we're like hanging out, and I'm like, how do you have time to hang out? And she's like, you know, like I squeeze that into my schedule, and then I'm like, all right, well, it's 10
Just make it
o'clock,
work.
I gotta go home, and I'm like, that's good though, you know, staying on top of that sleep
Right.
schedule, because me, I'm like, man, it's 11, I should go to bed. Stay up until like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Don't do anything. Just play games, you know. But I get it all done. God makes my angels watch over me. He's like,
he
"You're-"
makes them. He's like, watch that
You
girl.
gotta watch
Don't
her.
take your eye off that girl.
Yeah, he's like, she hasn't got her assignments done. You know, she didn't get it. It's horrible. It's horrible. But I mean, I still like get my assignments in. And
For sure. So, you know, it all boils down to time. Like you said, like Alina's really good with time management. I don't know how she does it, but she does. You know, I think Mia does a lot. You know, our president from the Talon. So, what it boils down to is time. So, what sucks up the most time for you? Like, where does that time go for you?
it just goes nowhere. Could it be a bit? No, a lot of my time, unfortunately, goes to gaming and watching movies.
Gotcha.
It's really bad. Don't, whatever. it just, no. Or it goes to calling. Literally, Nathan and I the other day, we were on call and we were just talking for 30 minutes, and Nathan goes, we've been on call for 30 minutes. Where'd the time go? I was like, oh my gosh. But a lot of my time is me watching movies or playing games, and then occasionally doing homework. But with me, it's kind of weird because, like, I, growing up, was kind of just like, I forget who I talked to. Oh, my English teacher. Guys, if you ever have Ted Blake for English, he's amazing. Phenomenal teacher, phenomenal dude. Like, he's just so cool. Highly recommend him. But we were talking about how time management, and he was kind of like, how do you feel like the system kind of prepared you for college? And everyone was unanimous. We were like, I mean, that's kind of all the system does, but at the same time, it doesn't really prepare you for the outside world that's a part of college. And like, we were talking about how for me, I just kind of felt pushed through the system, and I never had anyone. Not that I necessarily needed someone to hold my hand, but I wanted them to, because I was like, I don't get it, and I want to get it before I move on to the next thing. Like, why am I just gonna have material thrown at me, and then it's like, all right, now we have a midterm and a final, and you have to understand all of it.
Right.
And so with college, because I had that kind of experience from high school, when it comes to my assignments, I'm like, okay, if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't, and I'll take the extra time to understand those projects and assignments. But everything else, I'm just like, okay, read. What's essential? Like, what do I need to know in order to get this assignment done? And it's kind of just like, how can I maximize my time without actually like putting too much effort into it?
Right.
And still
Yeah.
get the score.
I think it's, we kind of live in that society too, where it's just like you feel like you constantly have to be doing something. So it's just like, fitting into those pockets of time and like what's most valuable and what's the most efficient. And that's kind of like, it's a blessing and a curse, because you are getting stuff done, but you're also not like solely focusing on one thing or like, doing it to the 100%.
Yeah. And I think that's why like I love film so much, because that's the one thing where I can genuinely put all of my time and effort into that. Like me and my little YouTube videos, I'm like, cool, I can actually sit down and like I am doing something. So it's not like people are like, oh, like you're being lazy and you're wasting time. But for me, I'm like, no, I'm actually sitting down and putting like 100% of my effort into something that I genuinely enjoy.
Right, exactly, yeah. So the time that you do spend playing video games or watching movies, do you feel like that's like wasted time? Do you feel like you're...
Sometimes it can be, for sure. Like, if I know that I'm putting off my English assignments. Sorry, professor. Like, if I know that I'm putting off an assignment, like, I know it's wasted time. Versus there are other times where I'm like, okay, like, I did my homework, I did the assignments that are due. I know I'm just relaxing and, like, enjoying myself. Sometimes with movies it depends, because if I'm watching something, I'm like, okay, I'm enjoying it, but then I get into kind of like that altered state where I'm like, oh, I'm watching this to like learn something. So I pick up like the scenes and the shots, and I'm like, oh, okay,
Gotcha.
like the dialogue is good here.
You make it worth your time.
Yeah, I make it worth my time. And so, but that always happens like accidentally. Like I'll literally be enjoying a movie and then I'm like, oh, that shot is crazy. Wait, let me play it back. And then I get like so deep into the movie, and it's just, it's like a balance of both.
For sure. No, totally get it. Yeah, I'm the same way. Especially because like I was finishing my bachelor's during the pandemic, so it was all virtual, and I like, you're on the computer the whole time, you're in Zoom. I'm like watching a whole movie while a lecture's going on. I'm just like nodding my head, and then I'm just like, oh my gosh, like that's how Inception ends. So it's like you multitask a lot, and I think with the pandemic and then just with everything going on in the world right now, it's like hard not to feel like you want your relaxation time or like that time back, and putting off like assignments and stuff like that, at least to me, feels necessary, and it kind of feels like not that serious at the end of the day, and when it's all said and done, for me, like after finishing my bachelor's, sure, like get your GPAs up, don't slack in your grades, especially if you want to like get awards and all that, but it really doesn't matter, especially with you guys. Like it's more about material.
Yeah, I think about that a lot. Like I was reading Revelation, which it's in the Bible. It's the last book of the Bible, and it talks about like the end times, which I know sounds crazy, but I digress. I was reading that, and I was kind of like, see, this is so pointless. I was like, this is why I shouldn't do homework. Everything's gonna end anyways. But obviously, I do want to express that, college institutions are important, and unfortunately we are in a society that, makes those to be important. And I mean, you saw it after the pandemic too, that like if you didn't have a degree, you almost couldn't get a job.
Right.
And
it was competitive. Yeah.
It was so hyper competitive, and everyone who even had a degree was like, great, now I need a master's, now I need a doctorate, because no one wants to hire me with a bachelor's, no one wants to hire me with an associate's. And like it's so overwhelming to have that pressure from outside, because it's just like, dang, dude, I just want to make movies. I just want to have fun with what I'm studying. And like a lot of people who had passion, they lose it along the way because of all that pressure that comes in with like a lot of just, you need to get a job and you need to sustain a family and you need to sustain yourself, and like
Right.
you know, it's just, it's really overwhelming, so it definitely drains you a little bit. But having those moments of like, you know, me being in Alan's class and like he's talking about something and I'm like, I love that, that's so cool, like
Right.
just having those little moments of passion is definitely what keeps me going to pursue that.
For sure, yeah. I think too, and we'll throw it to Nathan. But like with filmmaking, with like digital media, it's a very creative space, and it's also very fun. You know, it's a lot of work. Like I mean, like if you would have seen the work behind the scenes to try and set this room up, and it still looks like a supply closet. Like you know, it's like you know, it's work. It is work to look this good. So, but it, you know, it is fun. Like you can't deny that it's fun. But like sometimes I feel guilty because it's like, you know, I'll be with other people that I'm working with, or that I'll see like other friends that are in different career fields, and they are like working to the bone, and I'm just like sitting here like playing with my camera and like checking out all the settings or editing photos for fun, you know. So for you, Nathan, like, do you feel like this is fun? Would you do another career if it was up to you?
No. I love doing this. It's really fun. Like just setting up everything and then getting to like see the results after is really fun. I had a paper that I had to do for English last semester, and he allowed us to do video as an option. So I had like this whole setup in my room. I had like a massive green screen that was like blocking like an entire wall of my room, 3 lights, and then like a camera, and I had to like step around all the wires and everything. But it was even though it was like a really big pain to set it up and then take it down, it's the process is super fun.
Yeah, it's satisfying
And-
too when you get that shot, or when you know get it set
Yeah,
up.
and I mean, there's really, for me personally, there's nothing like better than that.
Yeah.
Photography comes close, but I kind of consider it towards like similar areas.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. So for you, like, what's been the most challenging part of this field, you know, of school or of, you know, filmmaking?
Probably having to like consider how I'm gonna have to put in the work, I guess. Like, because with, I guess, more creative fields, you don't have a guided direction. Like if I was going into nursing or trying to be a doctor, there's kind of a straight line that they send you down to what you have to learn and what you're going to need to do. But with more creative work like film, you can learn a lot of stuff, but up until a point, you have to just start doing legwork and going out, doing projects, doing weddings, like whatever you
Yeah.
can to really learn what you can. And it's kind of intimidating, honestly.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, yeah. There's so many different types of work, and like sometimes you feel like you got to be like a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
To do all of that, graphic design, like, you know, photos, like everything, and it's like when you have a title like I'm a marketing and media specialist, like that includes everything. You know, like if you were like I hate to compare it, I really do, but if you were a nurse or like in nursing, like you're not like. That doesn't mean like your title is doctor. And again, like nurses do a lot, and they're jack of all trades in their own sense. Like some are even doing social media, but it is like honed in on that. Whereas like marketing and media, most of the time when you find a job, like you literally got to do everything because you're supposed to know all of that. So in the real world too, if you go to like an agency, they do have their own sects of like groups. So like you'll have your graphic design team, you'll have like the production team. So if it's a good company, it'll be efficient like that. So that way you don't feel like you're doing every single thing. But while you're in school and just getting that first 2 years, 3 years of experience, you literally have to do whatever you can to shine. So.
Yeah, I can relate to that a lot because right now I'm actually taking motion graphics and video production at the same time, and then the next fall I'm going to be taking animation, and there's a lot of like everything kind of getting thrown at you at once from just different areas, and it really feels like you got to be on top of everything.
For sure. Yeah. Like I don't like graphic design, but like that's like the number one thing I do in here.
Yeah.
So
It's definitely overwhelming trying to like balance all of that because you're just like, man, I'm just interested in the camera, and everyone's like, no, you gotta know everything. Like
Right.
you have to be able to like just throw you into different things because I feel like obviously with a production like you are working with everybody, but to me I'm like everybody has like their thing that they know really well, and yes, they know like a little bit of everything else because that's what the job includes. But sometimes it's just like, man, just give me a camera and leave me alone. Like, don't ask me to do anything else. Like, I just want the camera. Yeah. But I know Alan was talking to us about that too, which Alan Marsala, another good teacher that you should take, video production, awesome. But he was talking to us about how kind of like, he was like, when you present yourself, when you're applying, you know, video production, and like, what is the other thing that you know how to do? Because they're not just going to hire you if you know one thing. Like, you have to know something else. And so I was like, man, come on, dude. Like, please, I just want to know the one thing. But yeah, I think that's also something I think about when like wanting to be a director. That's a little stressful because I feel like in that position, they kind of expect you to know a little bit of everything.
Right.
Because they're like, well, you're the director. You should know a little bit of everything. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm taking all these classes. But it's still fun.
Yeah, I think like a good, like someone had said that, you know, in order to be a good director, you have to be a good actor. Or at least like have that acting experience background so that you can know like what an actor's going through. And I think that's true like in a lot of other fields. Where if you're a manager, if you're a supervisor, if you're a superintendent and a director of something, then you need to know. Yeah. You know, so it's important. Don't get me wrong. But make sure that whatever field you're doing, like specialize in something, because I think that's key nowadays. Like that it is key to specialize in videography, podcasts, you know, and then have those other like, hey, like I can also do this, you know, and incorporate that. But that's just my 2 cents. Okay, bringing it back to general school. So went over a little bit about procrastination and some self-sabotaging methods, like knowing you have an assignment due, but you're staying up late playing video games. But we also have moments where it's, you know, self-reflection or like, you know, self-lifting, where you have to take that time. Like you have too much stress going on, so you got to take that me time. So Nathan, what does that me time look for you?
Recently it's just been laying in bed, doing nothing, but I consider watching movies to be like really important to me when it comes to like that me time stuff, because it's what I enjoy the most out of any form of entertainment or activities that you can do to relax. But it also I always feel guilty when I do it, because you have to set a lot of time aside to sit through a whole movie.
Right, yeah.
Especially if it ends up being longer, like 3 hours.
Right. And are you the type, like, I mean, like, being in videography or, like, loving films, are you the type to just, like, have a movie on the background and, like, be on your phone or, like, on a laptop or something? Or do you have to, like, watch the movie?
No, I have to watch the movie. The only time I really put movies on in the background is if it's a movie I think that looks really bad, and then I put it on the background to just create noise and then do something else.
That's insane.
But most movies I like to like really like dedicate my focus to it, because there's a lot of good films out there that have really unique styles or just something really niche that they do different or better than another film, and I like experiencing all the different just the different variety that they bring.
Gotcha. Yeah, same here. It's hard for me I mean, like, if I've seen a movie, like, let's say, Rush Hour, I've seen Rush Hour, but, like, I'll put that on in the background. I'll be editing photos to it and, like, looking at it and be like, okay, I want to make, like, my photos or my video look like that color grading, so it inspires me in that sense. So I can put that in the background, but if it's, like, I'm watching Oppenheimer for the first time, like, that's a 3-hour movie. I'm not, like, I mean, it's a lot of time to set aside and, you know, but I got to watch it all, you know, on my own.
There's no other way to watch it.
Yeah. So, but what about you, Bella? What's some self-reflection or some me time that you enjoy doing? And let's say like outside of digital media, like something like meditation or
reading my Bible for sure. That's like a good me and God time, because I feel like school distracts me a lot from being able to have that time. Also showering. I love to have me a long shower, do my whole prep, everything, scrub, get a little I'm like, oh, it's so nice. Because I try to take care of my hair a little bit better because it has a tendency to be really frizzy. So I'm always doing like my scalp scrub and then, my double shampoo. And that's my favorite form of like self-care.
Right,
like if I've had like if I have just like a lot of assignments and then I'm like taking a break and I'm like, it's nice. My skincare routine and my shower routine. Gotcha. I always like to relax like that. Or hang out with my dogs. I love my doggies. They're
a little
so
spa
cute.
day with your doggies.
Yeah, which reminds me, they need baths.
You're like, I got an assignment due. Gotta get my dogs a bath.
Balance, whatever. Just throw it all in there.
Right. Well, that's good. Yeah, I mean, a good shower, like a good bath, is always great. I feel like if I had the money, I would totally get a massage like every month. Could you imagine?
So nice, dude. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I went to Thailand. We know that, but
they don't know that. Bella
I went to Thailand. Anyways, I know. God bless. I got a massage like 3 days in a row, and I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so blessed. Like, it was just so nice. It was so nice. I was like, wow. And then we were talking to two of my friends that were on the trip, Christy and Cecile. One from Germany, one from Australia, and they were like, how expensive like are massages in California? And I was like, it's like $100, maybe $150, $200 if you're paying for like a whole entire thing. And they were like, what? Like, that's crazy. And they were like, I mean, I know massages are expensive, but like, that's insane. And I was like, girl, if you want a nice massage. And I was talking to them because I was like, masseuses in California, like in the United States, they have to have a certificate.
Right.
Like, they have to be certified.
License,
and she was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And I was like, yeah, over here in Thailand, they just making sure you nice and good, And I was like, the entire time I was like, man, I very thankfully, like, very blessed, had the opportunity to get a massage at the Hotel Del. And I just wanted to stay. I was like, let me stay. Let me live here. Just
how much is rent? Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, how much do I gotta pay, please? Because my masseuse was so nice to me. And this is when I was working as a barista at the time, so my shoulders were super, super tense. And she was just getting every knot, and I was like, wow, God bless you. Like, she was just, oh. And then she told me afterwards, she was like, drink lots of water, your shoulders are really tense. And I was like, oh, I love you. I think about that experience all the time.
She's like, massaging you. She's like, oh, you've been eating a lot of grapes, haven't you? It's just like, what? How did you know? You're massaging my shoulders.
Dude, oh my gosh. But yeah.
And this is like, never mind. A lot of this is like, off the cuff. Like, we had this in mind, of course, but, we want to keep it natural. We want to keep it light. So, Bella, you don't have to answer this, but you recently deactivated your Instagram, social media.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there a reason for that? Can we talk about that?
Oh yeah. I openly talk about this all the time.
Okay.
That is also another like form of self-care for me. I do, like, I've always had issues with Instagram and self-image, and also relationships, and like that's just it really gets to me. And so I just deactivate my Instagram. I literally don't care. And I think I had reached a point where I deleted my social media, and it had become a thing where I had a toxic relationship where I would like post, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, Bella posted, like, like
she's back.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I don't like that. Like, I don't like, I mean, it was fun, like, with my friends, because they'd be like, yo, like, fire post, I love that. And I'd be like, oh, like, thanks. But it was some weird toxic form of, like, self-gratification that I didn't like. And so I was like, all right, delete. And then all my friends were like, whoa, you deleted your Instagram, like, actually deleted it? And I was like,
we were in the middle of discussing Bella. She had deactivated her social media account as self-care.
Yeah. And I was going to talk about how, like, Gen Z and social media is, like, a really big issue. And I just think it's, like, it's not a big deal if you delete social media, to be quite honest. I deleted my Twitter, I deleted my Snapchat, and I deleted my TikTok, and then I just had Instagram. And I think my biggest pet peeve with that is when I deactivate my Instagram, so many people will be like, oh, like, why, are you okay? Like, what's going on, you know? And, like, it kind of just bothers me a little bit because I'm like, I can't have social media without it being an issue. Like, it's not, you know.
I think it comes more from just like people always deleting it when they like go through like a big hard time in their life.
Yeah. And I obviously understand that since I have done that in the past, but like now people always are like, oh, there goes Bella. She deactivated her Instagram again.
Classic Bella.
She needs a break. And I'm like, yeah, you guys get it.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that makes me laugh is that every time I deactivate it, I get multiple texts going, you deactivated your Instagram, right? You didn't block me. And I'm like, yes, I deactivated it. I didn't block you, I promise. Yeah. But that's also another form of self-care that I do. And I feel like a lot of people should do that more often because people are always just like, man, like I'm literally writing a paper on it for English about how like social media takes so much of our time that everyone no longer thinks it's a waste. Like they're always like, yeah, like I'm just on social media for hours. And I'm like, and you could be reading a book.
Yeah,
you could be outside.
Yeah.
You could be learning a new trick. Trade, and yet you're on your phone.
Yes.
But, you know, I acknowledge I do the same thing, so.
Yeah. No, I think everybody does to a certain extent. And I think it's like always a battle, especially when you're doing like digital media content or like filmmaking and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Because like personally, I mean, I'm on social media, but if I can choose another way to get my content out there, I would, because I just feel like it's kind of ridiculous now. But it's essential, you know, businesses, companies, they use that as their virtual store, or, you know, how they display their content. So naturally, like, you have to create content for that. So that's just the name of the game. So I'll never get around that, and I'll never be like, oh my gosh, like I hate my job because like why did I get in this business? You know?
Yeah, you're like, dang, I hate the stuff that I do every day.
Yeah, but it's clear that, you know, Gen Z and Gen Alpha too, like they are not feeling the same way as millennials have felt, or, you know, how technology was felt like during Y2K, which, you know, is a totally different subject. But yeah, so what about you, Nathan? Like, how do you feel about social media?
I like to be on it mainly for the creative reasons. I haven't personally like deleted any of it, but my friend Dylan has, and he every time he sees like something that's like very artistic and he likes it, he'll want to install it again, and then he'll get it, and then within like 5 hours he'll get rid of it. And he's like, I was literally just on my phone the whole time. And he does tell me, if you like, every now and then he's like, yeah, my life is actually just better without it. And I would get rid of it if it wasn't for the fact that I do photography, I want to get into filmmaking.
Right, exactly.
All of it does require that social media aspect, which it doesn't bother me because I've been using social media less as a whole. So I think it more just comes down to how you control yourself and limit it if you're like in a field of work like this. But if you don't need it, I mean, you can completely live without it. Super easily.
I think like, I feel like people do make it a big deal about not having social media. Like, they're like, oh, well, you're not, like, you don't know the trends, and, like, you don't know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, okay, but how important is that to, like, my day-to-day life? You know? Like, I'm like, it's not like you're letting me know that the CDC said something important. You know, like, I'm like, it's literally a TikTok trend. Like, I don't care. And, dude, oh my gosh, I've actually noticed that with my sister. She's 10 years older than me, so she's in her 30s, and she literally, she'll send me, like, TikTok sounds, or, like, she'll be like, we're on the phone, and she'll be like, she'll say something, and I'm like, what is that? And she's like, oh, I forget you don't have TikTok. Oh my gosh, get TikTok, girl. Like, you're so behind. And I'm like, you are 10 years older than me. You get off TikTok. Like, I feel like I'm the 30-year-old every time we have a conversation. It's so dumb. But, I mean, whatever. Like, it's just, I'm like, if you want to be entertained, you want to be entertained. But to me, I'm just like, it's so much better for my mental health to just not have it. And then it's also intriguing to be able to have like have that breakdown conversation with people when I'm like, oh yeah, I don't have social media, or like I deactivated it, and they're like, oh, interesting. And then that opens up like a gateway of me being able to be like, you can get rid of it and it won't be a problem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think even in the business of digital media too, like, it helps to create reels or to like post your photos there. But there's several people that I know that are filmmakers that they don't even have an Instagram, but they are successful. You know, it's just a matter of like how else they're marketing their business or their value.
Word of mouth in the film industry is so important.
Right.
So important.
You got to put yourself out there, and then like honing in on one social media might be even more beneficial than trying to like spread it out across platforms because each of them have their own niche.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, even the way I see it now is like, sure, like I get business through my Instagram, but I also just use it as a creative outlet for my own stuff. Like, just like, cause I don't care. Like at the end of the day, like you said, like I don't really care about the trends. But I just want to post my own creative stuff, and people like that. Cool. Like someone along the way will see it, appreciate it, and want to do work with me. So that's
really what matters.
Yeah. So yeah. So we're gonna wrap this podcast up. We're gonna wrap the podcast up. We're gonna wrap the podcast up. So talked about self-care, talked about self-sabotage, talked about universities. Yeah, so apply.
Pray for me, y'all.
Yeah, pray for Bella. She's getting through it. Yeah, just make sure you're taking care of yourself during this time. It's the middle of the fall semester. Do what you got to do. Any words from you guys? Nathan?
The janitors have been knocking on the door for the past 10 minutes wanting this room back.
We're wrapping.
Yeah.
Really take care of yourself, guys. Praying for all of you, even if I don't know you personally. Still am concerned for everybody on this campus because midterms are hard, finals are even more hard. But journal, and if you don't journal, do a video because that's actually way more entertaining to me than journaling sometimes.
Yes.
So do that.
Cool. Yeah. All right. So, Eddie.
Bella.
Nathan.
This is Talon Talks. Like and subscribe.
Woo!
MSJCTalonnews.com.
Bye.
We are out.
All right, guys, let's clean up.
Sick. Let's go.